Hello, my name is Jessica Dobbs, and I am
Secretary for the Alcona County Republican Party, and I am also the Communications Chairwoman of the 1st District Congressional Republican Party. So it is my honor to welcome you all here. And tonight we are going to start our program with my fellow 1st Congressional District State Committeeman and veteran, Todd Smalenberg. Please, Todd, come on up. Start us off.
First and foremost, can I get all our veterans to stand, please? Not being disparaging, but if it wasn't for our veterans, we wouldn't be the United States of America. So hats off to all of you. Appreciate your service. God bless you. We get everyone, please stand. Got the flag here in the right corner. Please remove any covers. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So help me God.
Amen, amen. Thank you, Todd. All right, to start off our program tonight, I have the great pleasure of introducing you to my husband and the chairman of the Alcona County Republican Party. He will start us off with the invocation as well as a short speech, which is his favorite thing ever. And then we will dismiss for dinner. Dinner will be dismissed starting with the back tables first, working the way here. I will go by and dismiss you guys when it is time, but let's give a nice warm welcome to my husband and chairman of the Alcona County Republican Party, Jeffrey Dobbs.
Thank you, everyone. Please bow your heads and let's pray to our Lord real quick. Lord Jesus, I want to thank you for bringing everyone here safely from all across the state. And I pray that at the end of the night, we will all be safely delivered back to our homes or wherever we're going for the day. Please bless our time here, that it be productive and that we learn about our country and our local areas and the people here running for office. Please bless them and strengthen them, and please also bless and sanctify and purify the food we're about to receive, so that it may nourish us, strengthen us, and keep us always on your path, Lord. In your holy name, Lord Jesus. Amen. Amen. So, hello. Welcome to everybody. We're very grateful you're all here, that you arrived safely. Whether you're a candidate, speaker, or guest, we're grateful for each and every one of you. We wouldn't be here without your support. So please enjoy yourselves in this beautiful new facility. Just christened this year. Our community is pretty excited about it. It is technically a senior center, but we have a whole community that gets to use and appreciate it. While you're here today, please get to know all the candidates and incumbents we have here. They'll be speaking throughout dinner, so after everyone goes and gets their food, we'll sit back down and the candidates will get a chance to tell you about their story. And then after that, we have a few special guests that will be telling personal stories, experiences, and about how the Constitution relates to where we are today. So before we get started, I'd like to offer a few words for all of us to consider as we approach what is most definitely going to be a critical election year. In the coming months, we're going to hear a lot of talk about unity. In my experience in primaries, there's nothing unifying about the primary season. It's pretty interesting. We do need unity, and we need it here locally. It begins here locally, wherever you're from. And if we all work together together on behalf of God and Jesus, that is our most likely and easy path to unity. This nation was founded on a principle that our rights were granted by God above, and that government is meant to protect those rights. So I'm going to share with you a few Bible verses and a little bit of my own interjection. And a few of these were used by our founders as they began to shape the principles that our nation was founded upon. So the first point is, we have nothing unless we empower ourselves and surround our efforts with knowledge and truth. Knowledge and truth cannot truly be received unless we have a biblical and godly foundation, just like our founding fathers knew to be true. As it said in Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So God warns us pretty implicitly that a lack of knowledge can be our undoing. And this reveals God's character in that we are supposed to uphold our duty and responsibility to learn, everything that we can. And there's no better steward of good government than a knowledgeable voter base. We must know who and what we're voting for. Among the usual questions, always ask yourself, will they uphold the values that our nation was built upon? Psalm 127:1, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. So unless we return to the principles this nation was founded on, we will never fully recover and enjoy the fruits of the very principles we claim to espouse. Putting the Constitution first means putting God above it all. He is the origin of the freedom we are fighting to reclaim. 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. The Bible's clear. Human history corroborates its truth. Nations which seek and obey God will prosper. Nations and empires which rebel against the will of God will fall. We need to elect constitutional and God-fearing people to office.
Amen. That's true.
The more God has been allowed to be pushed out of our government, the more freedoms get ripped from us. This is not a coincidence. We need to be united in our goals. We need to unify together in our godly values and support candidates who lead by his example. In doing so, we will unite under the flag of the almighty power and truly restore the freedom God has granted to us. It is no mistake that our founding fathers had the Bible with them during the Constitutional Convention and relied upon prayer at their most gridlocked times. They knew if we do not fight for him, why would he fight for us? We need to do the same here, and we need to get involved right here where we live, and we all need to lead by example. Thank you. So we do have one cancellation with the keynotes. Who do we have? Two? Who? Bernadette. Oh, yeah. So Bernadette Smith unfortunately cannot be with us, and neither can Michal. But that's okay. We have three great people to speak during our keynote section, and we have a whole bunch of awesome candidates and staff here to share their campaign and what they hope to accomplish if they get elected during dinner. So thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Hope to see you as we mill about.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, so the first part of the night that you've all been waiting for, I know there's multiple points to the night, but the first part will be dinner. Are you guys ready back there? Yes, you are. Excellent. So the backmost table, you guys are the lucky winners to get to go first. So head on back there. While you're doing that, I will make some announcements. Silent auction will continue until about 8 p.m. So feel free during, breaks and everything like that to go and double check your bids, because people are bidding. And then the candy prize, I guess the way that's doing it with the candy jar is we will draw 5 tickets. Those 5 tickets each get a guess at how much candy is in the jar, and whoever is closest out of those 5 guesses win, due to campaign and finance laws and stuff. So, a lot does not count as a guess. It needs to be an actual number. Thank you. The only person who knows how much candy is in that jar is our lovely treasurer, Carrie Mullins. And so I suggest you guys go cozy up to her if you want to get any hints. So yes, I hope you guys all enjoy the evening tonight. The first speaker, as soon as people are done getting their dinner, will be our current representative, Jack Bergman. If that's okay, sir? Excellent. So look forward to that. And in the meantime, I will begin to dismiss you as food is done. So enjoy.
Okay. Jessica, Jeff, thank you for stepping up. We can all, wasn't it the old phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? Well, thanks for intentionally standing up to lead here in Alcona. Being here tonight reminds me of the first time I literally came out of the woods in the UP in 2016, and there were a couple of people here in Alcona who really stepped up at the time. Larry Brzezowski and Marianne, God rest their soul. Frank DiMercurio, God rest his soul. Chosen Ranch? Yeah, I mean, when you think about the heart of the people in Alcona and the surrounding areas, you are the epitome of what makes us great. And then I saved her for last because she's here, Carrie, because every organization needs a driver. Every organization needs someone who doesn't quit, holds their self accountable first, and then holds all the others. So again, Jeff and Jessica, you know, your leadership, one of the most challenging things that you will have is to ensure that all of our voters in Alcona and surrounding areas, wherever you affect potential outcomes, get out and vote. I will tell you, as a Marine, I don't get mad. It's not a good thing to get mad. But the only voters that I will get perturbed with are those who don't vote. Okay? I don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican, don't care, because you honor the service of the men and women who served and fought for your right to vote. So vote. Get off your backside and vote. And why I would start with that and tell you that is, now I'm going to give it to you from the Washington, D.C. perspective. If we don't maintain, even if it's only a 1-vote majority in the House of Representatives, the last 2 years of the Trump administration will be all about impeachment because we will have given the gavels back to the Democrats. Okay, that's the reality. So if there's anybody in here who is thinking about should I vote or shouldn't I, that's not a thought you should be having. The thought you should be having is, how can I engage my friends, my neighbors, the people at, pick your work, wherever it is, and not only encourage them, but motivate them to vote in the 2016 election and vote in the primary. Because we're going to have a primary in August of 2026. The day after that primary, there's going to be a winner on every end of the ticket. If your person doesn't win, or if you don't win and you are on the ballot, if you're not out stumping for that person who did win, then you're not fulfilling what I believe is your role as someone who is serious about being someone in elected office, but just being a good American. Now, nobody needs to know what's going on in Washington, D.C., other than nothing. The House of Representatives 3 weeks ago basically passed a clean CR, continuing resolution, to fund the government for 2 months to allow some negotiations to go on with the other side so that we could get some points done and continue government funding. All the Republicans in the House and 1 Democrat voted for the CR. It passed. We sent it to the Senate. The Senate has voted something like 10 times and have not been able to do it. My suggestion where you can be proactive in this is you got 2 senators in Michigan. One is retiring. He's ready to fold at any moment. He just needs some encouragement to don't get me started. But if you were to contact both of our senators to say, hey, Michigan needs you to vote yes for this continuing resolution for no other reason than to keep the essential goods and services, which are going to continue anyway. They're not going to be stopped. But get off your backside and let's open the government up, go back to work, and let's get it done and keep moving forward. We are a country. In fact, Todd, you asked all of the veterans to stand up. How many Marines in the crowd, other than Todd? Great, right here. Okay, 250th coming up here, 10th of November. So as Marines, you better have your best birthday behavior on. You don't look at me over 240. Okay, so use that extra. But the point is, we've been celebrating for the last few months the Army, the Navy. The Air Force was only born in 1947, so they're not eligible for a 250th celebration. But did anybody experience the No Kings protests? Have you seen that? Well, if you have any people that are all excited about it, just say, well, we celebrated that No Kings a long time ago. It was July 4th, 1776. We started with No Kings, so you're new news, old news, no news. We have an opportunity here in Michigan with our governor, with, of course, all of the other seats that are available, but in the House of Representatives, we're at risk. So I'm asking this, if anybody knows or has any contacts in the Midland, Bay City, Saginaw area, reach out. I ran into Dave Camp, for those of you who remember Dave Camp. I ran into him a couple of weeks ago. He still lives in Michigan. We have a seat there that's, I'll take back. We're going to have to defend John James' seat because he's not, as you know, he's running for governor. Haley Stevens is running for Senate, so we have no Republican yet who has popped up yet in that district. So we are working very hard, and of course we have to defend Tom Barrett, who's a first-term incumbent. You're going to make the difference because your outreach extends past this room. Sure, it's Alcona County. Sure, it's Northeast Michigan. But you know people in the areas that I just mentioned, and for you to reach out to them, there's ways to get in touch. Jim Runstead, who's the current chairman of the Michigan GOP, and other leadership. We need a coordinated, conservative effort here in Michigan in 2026 to, number one, make sure Donald Trump has a successful second 2 years of his second term. And number two, we take back the state of Michigan from the, Jennifer Granholm's got to be so happy. Because Whitmer's performance has made Granholm look so good. Okay? Yeah, it's it. What can I say? The point is, they have continued to lower their standards and lower their levels of performance to the point where we can't stand it. So it's about us taking back Michigan here at the state level. Having said that, you've got a lot of candidates here you're going to hear from. I am running again in 2026, in case anybody was wondering. And I'm proud to represent you, and I'll still always be on Armed Service and Veterans Affairs. And as long as we have a majority, I'll have a third committee, which is budget. Because as a Marine, I'm cheap. I'm very frugal. If you give me $1, I'm going to get $1.30 out of it. That's just the way we were trained. But we are all in this together, no matter whether you serve in uniform, you serve your country, you serve your community, you serve your God. but never miss an opportunity. This may sound weird to end with this. Never miss an opportunity to be kind to someone. We here in Michigan, especially northern Michigan, know that we're driving along and we see a car alongside the road. Our first tendency is to stop and say, do they need help? That's who we are. Let's keep that. Let's figure out a way to help others who need help, but let's not fight amongst ourselves while we're doing it. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Let's have a good dinner and some good speeches.
Wow, thank you so much. All right, for our next speaker, I'm looking at you, Justin Michael. He is the candidate who is challenging Jack Bergman for U.S. Congress. Give him a round of applause.
Hey guys, good evening. I actually want to start this evening by doing something. Congressman Bergman, thank you so much for being here in attendance tonight. Thank you so much for your service to this country. It means a lot. Your dedication to this country over decades has been amazing, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to you directly. Thank you for give the Congressman a round of applause for his country. Challenging the incumbent is an uphill battle, and it has been a learning experience to be on the road navigating this district. This month, I put in 11,700 miles in district, 15,800 miles in total in the last 30 days, meeting with people. In that 11,700 miles, I put over 300 miles on every day. But in addition, I've tried to do that in counties so I can understand where people come from, what their concerns are, and the things that matter the most to them. Along that path, I've met some amazing people that were strangers to me before I got to their communities. It's something that I've really enjoyed in this process, being able to meet with the great and wonderful people of Michigan's 1st District. And it's incredible. People ask me, Justin, who are you? Well, now I'm currently a U.S. Congressional candidate for Michigan's 1st District. But what does that mean? Well, I'm a combat veteran. I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe in the Second Amendment. I'm pro-Second Amendment, something that means a lot to me. I'm pro-life. But I'm also someone that looks at limiting the responsibilities of governments and big governments. I believe in fiscal conservancy at the government level. I also believe in secure borders because it's important. A nation without secure borders is a weak nation. But there's another thing that's really important, and it's something that we just started talking about recently with the death of Charlie Kirk, and that's bridging the divides. Putting Americans first and Michigan's first is something that really matters to me, because as you drive through our district and you put on the thousands and thousands and thousands of miles every week and every month, you see that our district is suffering and hurting. There are people here that are suffering and hurting, and we need to bring prosperity back to northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. It's really important. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a rhino. My family has served the state of Michigan for over a century. My great-grandfather, Edward C. Morrison, served in the Michigan House of Representatives from 1926 to 1934 as a Republican. My grandfather stormed the beaches of Normandy and served for 3.5 years in Germany, fighting for American freedom, just to come back to Michigan and work for the UAW for 30 years, for which he retired from General Motors. As a union member, he voted as a Republican. My father served 33 years in the United States Army, retired as a colonel. In that process, he voted Republican. When he retired, he came back to the community for which we live and grew up in, and that community for me is Grayling, Michigan. He served on various boards and was an elected official until the day he died. When he passed away, my mother stepped up, ran as an elected official, is now on the township board in Grayling Township as a Republican. I don't stand up here before you today to say, I'm a Republican, I'm here, I'm trying to bridge the divides. I stand up because this is my family's legacy. This is something we've done. We've served the state of Michigan for over a century, 130 years to be exact. We've been members of this community in Grayling since 1932, when my grandfather built his cabin, the cabin for which I live in. This is my home. This is something I care about. Michigan's 1st District means everything to me. So I stand before you here tonight to tell you this. If you think that I'm running for myself, I'm not. I'm running for you. I'm running to give you a voice in Washington, D.C. I'm here to take small town mentality back to Washington, D.C. and serve each and every one of you. I care about you. My name is Justin Michael, and I'm running for U.S. Congress in this district. May God bless you, and may God bless my district. Thank you very much.
Oh, you turned it off. Thank you, Justin Michael. All right, next we are going to hear from Mike Garvonic. I hope I pronounced your name right. He is speaking on behalf of Anthony Forlini, who is running for Secretary of State. Please give him a round of applause.
I'm from Alcona County, Michigan, Michael Garvonic. I'm on a campaign team with Anthony Forlini, who wishes he was here. He was called to Washington. He was awarded about 10 years ago knighthood by the President of Italy. There's about 500 or so in Washington right now that will be meeting with President Trump as prominent Italians from around the United States. Tony's one from Michigan. With that being said, I want to start with Jeff Dobbs here. You said a key that I want everyone to take heed to. All the candidates that are running, we are Republicans. Being nice, kind, respectful to them as your adversaries, we do that. The enemy is the Democrats. I look at Amanda, Monica, Tim Smith, the other candidates that we're dealing with for Secretary of State. Wonderful, awesome individuals who I respect and look up to. That's my opinion. We are running a candidacy to win right now. Now, with Tony, to give you a little bit of background. Over the last 5 years, he has investigated the voter rolls, people over 100, over 600 people were investigated to find out to remove people from the ballots. We found 300 people over the age of 100 that we removed from the ballots. This needs to be done on a statewide level to avoid issues of fraud and fake. That will be done in the next step. In addition, right now Tony announced for candidacy about 2 weeks ago. Immediately, the Democrats came after him and said, Macomb County's clerk position is not efficient. There's 100 people waiting lines. Well, I got a little information for them. Out of 5,000 municipalities around America, 28 awards were given. 2 of them were given to the Macomb County clerk's position for efficiency. That's not given just to be given, that's earned. What Tony has did with the elections, he's the one clerk out of the United States that did a forensic audit to look at the machines. In addition, he unplugged the modems. He wants transparency for the office. This is important to get voter confidence in our election process. That's part of what he's doing right now. Another thing we look at right now, Tony, besides being a township supervisor for a couple terms, state representative, he's now the 2nd term of Macomb County clerk. He's the first Republican in the history of Michigan to win the clerk's position in Macomb County. And now we're going to talk about something important like Jack Bergman mentioned. What is the key to success for the 2026 midterms? What doesn't happen is people getting out to vote. It's your neighbor across the street. It's a person over here. It's an aunt, uncle, etc. We have to get out to vote. Now, here's another huge thing for Anthony Forlini. In 2024, he won his election by 80,000 votes more than the Democrat opponent. That's 10,000 more than what President Trump got. Why is that important? Anthony Forlini brings the vote out. What do we need in 2026? We got to get people out to vote. If we don't come out in numbers, we are in trouble. We have to do not business as usual. We have to step forward, make things happen, get people to vote that haven't voted, go out there and make a difference. With that being said, thank you and God bless you. Let's turn Michigan red. Let's win these critical races. Let's get the strongest ticket we can that can win the election in 2026. Let's get it out where it helps all our candidates from U.S. House Representatives to Senate to Governor to Attorney General. Make our ticket the strongest possible. Let's win this for Michigan, and let's make it happen, everybody. Thank you, and God bless you.
Amen. Let's make it happen. All right. Thank you so much, Mike, for speaking on behalf of Anthony Forlini. Next, I would like to invite Monica Yatooma, who is also running for Secretary of State up. Let's hear from her and give her a nice round of applause.
Thank you, Jessica. Hello, everybody. Monica Yatooma, running for Secretary of State. I don't know if I have Mike's energy, but I'm going to try my very best. So, show of hands, how many delegates do we have in the room? We have, awesome. Yes. So, I'm a delegate too. I've been running for a long time in Oakland County, where I sit on the executive committee, and last year I had the super awesome privilege and honor of being a national delegate to the RNC for Trump. I'm first generation Iraqi American, born and raised in Southeast Michigan. My parents came here and, just wanted to achieve the American dream. They did that and then passed that down to me and my sisters. And at the young age of 26, I was able to start my own company. It's a medical waste management company. We operate statewide with several hundred clients and employees under our belt. And so running my own business has taught me a lot of things. I know how to fix inefficiencies, prevent and detect fraud, manage people, build really awesome teams. But also in my industry, compliance is a top priority. And that's something that's really important to take into the Secretary of State's office, because I'm sure, as you all know, compliance is something that we're not seeing here today in the Secretary of State's office. And so I've also noticed that our state, local, and our federal officials, they're just not held to the same standards that we are as citizens and as business owners. Because if I had done just a fraction of the things that Jocelyn Benson has done, I would be fined, and I would probably be in jail right now. So I think that's unacceptable. And so it's one of the reasons that I decided to run. So in 2020, I was upset, like a lot of you, over the election, and that's really when I became politically charged. I was the parent in Oakland County that led the charge and filed a lawsuit against the mask mandates for the kids. That lawsuit was successful, and what a lot of people don't know is that subsequently the rest of the counties in the state followed, and the mask mandates were dropped. So I thought I was done from there, but unfortunately in 22, as you all know, the Democrats took a trifecta, and there was a blue sweep across Michigan. So I realized my work wasn't done. Because while somebody like me might have access to financial and legal resources to protect me and my family, I realized the average family across the state doesn't have that kind of access. So I took the attorneys from our lawsuit, and I started the Great Education Initiative. It's a 501c3. Poured some money into it, went out and raised a bunch of money, because specifically, I saw a huge gap in school board races. The GOP wasn't helping. Consultants don't want to touch school board races because there's no money to be made in those races. So I went out, raised the money, and built the operation, and we helped parents take back their local school board races and take back local control of their children's education. That year, when there was a blue sweep, we had our hand in about 75 school board races. We won the majority of them, especially in really purple districts where everything else around us went blue. Now, fast forward to 24, I started GEI's sister organization, Great Education Action. So we used the C3 to do voter education and a lot of nonprofit work in different areas, but the C4 was to get politically charged. So we were doing a lot of voter education, a lot of voter registration. We were hiring phone bankers across the state, and a lot of door knockers to help take back the state house. And of course, won the state for Trump. In doing that, we were very successful. We ran a highly sophisticated early vote operation in 24, and it was, we pulled data from clerks all across the state. We built relationships with these clerks, but unintentionally, looking at these voter lists and voter rolls, I saw a lot of issues with Michigan's election system. So in a lot of the bigger counties, especially counties like Macomb, we saw in 24 that every single voter had the same voter ID. So if every voter has the same voter ID, you can't audit the election. The election is not secure. We saw missing ballot tracking numbers, ballot ID numbers, and as voters were returning their absentee ballots, the return date field was blank. We didn't even know when they were returning those ballots. So it's impossible to audit the election or even say that it was transparent or secure. But what that did was give me insight into the issues that needed to be addressed and fixed with the election system. Now, 24, using the C4, we played a key role in helping Republicans take back the state house. I'm Middle Eastern, I'm of Chaldean descent. I don't think you guys have a lot of Chaldeans up here, but we have a ton in Oakland and Michal anyway. So we're super conservative, but our voter turnout very low. It sits at about 32%. So I made that one of my projects, and it was kind of a test that I ran, so I went out and raised some money. And we did a lot of voter education, and I stationed people in churches everywhere to register Chaldean voters to get the voter count up. So we took that 32% voter turnout in the Chaldean community, and it went all the way up to 74% for the 24 election. It was huge for Michal, and that was huge for Trump. And it helped us in 24 to take back the Republican state house. Now, we were successful in doing that because I was able to go out and raise money and build have the necessary relationship building skills to go out and do all that. And so I just share all that with you because I want you to know it's the same skill set that I'm going to bring to the Secretary of State race, because fundraising is going to be critical for this race. And we're going to have the necessary resources in place both before the convention and during the general election and have the operation in place to win. So because of my experience with C3s and C4s and what we did in 24, I'm the only candidate in the race currently having conversations with very large organizations from across the country, and especially in DC, but also large donors, to help us here in Michigan in 26. Because Trump is not on the ballot. There's not going to be money trickled and poured in the way it was in 24. So we need candidates that can go out and bring that to the table, not just for me to run for SOS, but to elect conservative candidates up and down the ballot. But all that to say, we went out and did all that work, and I realized that it was a complete waste of time because, not a complete waste of time, excuse me, I take that back. What I realized is that in doing all that work, if we really wanted to secure Michigan's future, but really protect our kids, we have to secure Michigan's elections. Because we're spinning our wheels, if we're doing all this work, but then getting to the ballot box, and pardon my French, but we're getting screwed in the ballot box. So just like I did the GEI, I see a problem that I know I can fix, and I'm not afraid to step up and fix it. So we'll talk about what that looks like. First and foremost, we're going to take Michigan out of ERIC. It's the Electronic Reporting Information Center designed to clean up voter rolls, but instead Democrats are hijacking the data and using it for partisan purposes. So Michigan will be out day one. We also need to clean up our voter rolls. So like Gretchen Whitmer says, fix the damn roads. We need to fix the damn rules. And one way that we can do that is by cross-checking with a federal database like the Department of Homeland Security to clean up those rules. We need to secure our absentee ballots. They need to be cleaned, they need to be checked, logged, verified at every single transfer. Okay, we need to ensure signature verification on every single ballot. I know that's common sense. It's just not common sense right now for Jocelyn Benson, but we'll change that when we get in there. Number 3, because of what happened in 2020, I wanted to establish a poll challenger and campaign bill of rights for all our election workers. So that they have, is that for me? Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna clean up Michigan's campaign finance reporting system. It's a waste of $9 million taxpayer dollars. Replace it with something more transparent, user-friendly, but also an SLS office, more same-day appointments, more access to online tools. We're also going to streamline SOS transactions, so when you make an appointment, we're going to make sure communication is clear with text messaging and emails, so you know what to bring with you to the Secretary of State's office. And as your next Secretary of State, I'm going to make sure that all instructions given to election officials are actually lawful and not unlawful like what we're seeing with today. So, very easy. I'm wanting to restore transparency, integrity, and trust back into our elections, back into our Secretary of State's office. I hope to earn all of your support tonight. I'm here to answer any questions if you need me. Thank you for your time. Sorry I went over. God bless.
Woo! The first one to reach the timer. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Monica. Our next candidate to speak tonight is Amanda Love, and she also is running for Secretary of State. Please give her a warm welcome and a round of applause.
Thank you guys so much for having me. And that was a very passionate speech by a non-candidate, I wanted to say. That was very good. Anthony Forlini would be very proud. But I'm Amanda Love. I'm from Oakland County. And first and foremost, I'm a wife and a mother of 5 children. And I am running for Secretary of State because my children deserve to know when they grow up that their vote counts and that elections are fair. So who here thinks, please stand up actually, if you think there was any form of fraud in either the 2020 election or any election, prior or thereafter. Yeah, so that's the whole room right there. So that's a problem. And our kids deserve to grow up in a in a fair environment, and we need to make sure that Republicans win. And we can't do that every cycle. If not everybody's going to be Donald Trump. I mean, we can't make it too big to rig every year. So we need to clean up our election system. And I'm the best person to do that. I have the most experience in this race, and I actually shadowed a Secretary of State for a while. I worked in the Secretary of State's office, and then I moved on to the Attorney General's office. And as we've seen with Nessel and Benson, those two offices work very closely together. So I have experience in both those offices, and then also vast legislative experience where I've written policy and law. So then I also have the other side of the campaign. So I have the inside experience, and then I have the outside experience because I've been an election inspector and a campaign manager for many campaigns. So I've never lost a race, but I'm definitely tired of having to beat the fraud before I can even go and beat the Democrats. And I've actually won my own race without any outside help. I ran it myself, and I ran an anti-CRT platform against 2 union-backed incumbents, and I won with the most votes in that election. So I know what I'm doing, and I'm not going to need on-the-job training when I start on day 1. And our clerks, however, they do need training. And our local clerks, some of them, do not have access to the proper training. So I'm going to bring a comprehensive training program to not only the county clerks, but our local clerks, the city, village, and clerks too. And then we also have a comprehensive plan to bring training to our law enforcement officers and our constitutional sheriffs. Because oftentimes, when there's an issue at a ballot box, people don't know what else to do other than to call the law enforcement, and they just don't know election law. Fair enough, it's not part of their training, so we're going to train them up. I also want to work to clean up our voter rolls. We have been talking about that for many years. We need to actually do it. And on day 1, I will withdraw from Eric, and I will take a saw to the voter rolls and get off those deceased voters, get those duplicate voters off the rolls. There is no excuse why they're still on there. And I'm also going to make sure that we stop the illegal aliens that are voting in our election. The Democrats have actually acknowledged 15 voted on our last election. So I imagine that number is quite higher than that, and it's unacceptable. So we need to cross-reference social security numbers with our registrations. That has been done in prior administrations, and that needs to be brought back. I also want to work with our next Attorney General on real consequences for election violators and real jail time for election violators, because if we don't have consequences for violating the law, then they're going to just keep doing it. So I also want to bring in walk-in appointments back. The Secretary of State's office is, I think around here you guys are pretty safe. If you walk in, they'll pretty much fit you in. But that's not guaranteed in other counties, so I want to make sure in an extenuating circumstance you're guaranteed a same-day appointment. I also want to bring a phone number that people can call to schedule an appointment, because oftentimes our senior citizens, they don't want to go dig up the website and try to figure out the online appointment system. So we need to bring a real number with a live person on the other end that they can call and make their appointment with. And I also want to make mobile SOS units in rural areas, because they cost fractions of a brick and mortar office, and we don't need all of them. We only, by law, need 83 offices, and I think, what is it, Anthony Hudson, how many do we have? 151. So, yep, we need to cut that back, and I want to bring the mobile SOS units instead. So, I also want to eliminate the tab system that is outdated and expensive, and we don't need to do that every year. So that is my birthday present to you. You will not have to actually go in and get new tabs every birthday. I also want to just touch briefly on my biggest strength in life, and that is actually collaborating. And I think that's very important within the party. There's a lot of factions out there, there's a lot of sides, and I think that I speak to everybody, I give everybody a fair shake, I hear everybody out, and I learn something new every day. I got into this race thinking I knew a lot about election integrity. I literally learn something new every day about election fraud or whatever it may be. So I think I bring that to the table in the Secretary of State's office. So I have more ideas, but please visit my website to learn more, www.loveformi.com. That's love, 4 is spelled out, mi.com. And again, I'm Amanda Love, and I would love to earn your vote at the nominating convention. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Oops, I forgot my notes. Okay, so next we are going to have Teemu Garrity speaking on behalf of Mike Cox, who is running for governor. Unfortunately, Mike Cox could not make it. So give Teemu a wonderful round of applause, which you did. Thank you. And here you are.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to keep it quick since nobody wants to hear when the candidate couldn't make it. My name's Teemu Garrity. I'm Mike Cox's campaign manager. I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to tell you real quick why I chose to come back, chose to work for Mike. I grew up in Grayling, moved down to West Bloomfield in Oakland County in middle school, joined the Marine Corps out of high school, and then I started running campaigns. Over the last 6 years, I've ran campaigns in 7 states, over 15 campaigns I've worked on or ran, and one of the most important things is winning, right? You don't want to be a candidate that can't win. And in 2020, 2022, and even coming into 2024, I got the feeling that I love Michigan, I love being back here, but I didn't want to come back here and work here because I didn't know that we could win. With our Senate candidates, we'd failed multiple times in a row to take back the Senate. We lost a 40-year Senate majority. I mean, things look dire in the Michigan GOP. It was not a place that I thought I wanted to come as a person that works in Republican politics. I talked to Mike about 3 months ago. He gave me a call and asked me if I'd interview to come on as his campaign manager. And I was hesitant, like I said. I didn't know about coming back to Michigan to work. I didn't know if we could win. And after talking with Mike and looking at the field, Mike is the candidate that we can win in November with. There is no other candidate in the field that has actually won statewide. If you look at Gary Peters' record, he has won every single race he has ran except for running for Attorney General, where Mike Cox has beat him. And Mike Cox is the only person running for governor that has won statewide. He is also a Marine, which, to be frank, tells me he can fight. And that's what we need. And I believe that Mike has that fight. He's traveling every day. He's raising the money. I believe he is the only one that can win in November. And I hope you'll join me in supporting him. I'm happy to answer any questions as best I can about his policies or get you that answer. I will give you my phone number. And like I said, I'm going to keep this short, but I hope you will join me in supporting Mike, and I hope you all get the chance to meet him if you haven't already. And thank you again for bringing me on to this great event.
Thank you so much. All right, so next, we're moving on along. Right on. So, let's hear from our next governor candidate, Anthony Hudson. Please come on up here, sir. I saw you making eye contact, so I was like, all right, you're next.
Lesson learned. My name is Anthony Hudson. My friends, they call me Tony. If you don't know Tony backwards is why not. People ask me all the time, why are you running for governor, Anthony? And I'm like, why not? Michigan politics suck. That's just no easy way to put it. Our representatives have not been representing us in Lansing, and that's why we are where we're at today. I'm not a politician, folks. For 21 years, I've been running semi-trucks across the country and across the state of Michigan. I've been moving forward every single day because that's what truck drivers do. We have to meet deadlines. We have to get freight from point A to point B. Everything in your life comes in at some point on a truck. You need us. You want us. You have to have us. So one day after I lost my congressional race last year, I was sitting in bed, I was reading a bunch of emails, and somebody had emailed me and said, don't give up the fight, Anthony. Run for governor. Too many times candidates step up and run these races, they lose and they disappear because they didn't really have the grit inside to continue to fight. After about 300,000 emails later, we made a decision that we were going to run because of a simple quote made by Gandhi, who said, if you want to see true change in the world, you have to be the change you want to see. This is my debt that I need to fulfill with society. This is what I commit to you, is to continue to fight. We have a very bold, aggressive platform that I'll get into in just a moment. But this man standing beside me here and here, if it wasn't for his boldness, he would not be the great leader he is today. So my platform, it starts first and foremost with eliminating property taxes in the state of Michigan. You deserve the right to own your property outright without the government having the ability to take it away from you. We have a family in Berry County that is losing their home over $37. But a trucking company down the street hasn't paid their property taxes in 6 years. They owe almost $68,000 and no one's contacting them. It's got to stop. Without property taxes, our farmland is safe. Your land is safe. Today, our farmland is shrinking every single day. You guys know in this area up in Sheboygan, they're clearing 800 acres for solar panels that are going to go straight to Chicago. Not a single ounce of energy is going to be used right here in Michigan. Same with the solar farms that I've visited all across the state. It is a scam, and you are paying to install them and maintain them. Is that where you want your money to go? Absolutely not. Michigan's income tax, state income tax. Why do we need to pay the state for the right to go to work? That's how you take care of your family. You have to work to take care of your family, to pay your bills, not to pay a treasonous government. Maybe it's time the Liberty Tree gets watered with the blood of tyrants. Maybe we need to stand up and fight against these people and say enough is enough. Average people know the problems. Average people have solutions to these problems because all these problems affect us the most. Your good old pal, no-fault car insurance every month. Some of you in this room remember when Michigan was an at-fault auto state. The legislation is still sitting in Lansing. We just have to repeal the no-fault and bring back the at-fault, which brings responsibility to the road. When you hit someone and you get a ticket and your insurance pays their health, their medical bills, and their car, you'll slow down on the roads because you won't want to do that again. As Ms. Love mentioned, the annual auto tag renewals, I'm all for getting rid of them because your information doesn't change unless you move or change insurance companies. After speaking to several law enforcement agencies down in Genesee County, they tell me the information is absolutely redundant. They're looking to see who owns the car and that you're insured. You don't need to renew that every single year. All these Secretary of State candidates here today, great job. But I want to hear more about what are we going to do with these elections. So as your next governor, I will write a bill and submit it to the floor that the Secretary of State cannot run for governor until 4 years after being removed. Secretary of State controls the elections. You think Benson's going to be honest with it this year? I think we need to have a MyDove office, a Michigan Department of Voter Efficiency, an office that works with the MyDoge office that polices the elections, an office that is overseen by the Secretary of State's office, but allows them to police everything that we do with our elections to make sure they're pure and honest. I would like to see one-day voting. No more mail-in ballots. I would like to get rid of the Dominion machine to go back to the tabloids. I'd like to see elections as a state holiday. I would like us to vote and have a winner on the same day, not start the process 2 weeks early. Michigan has problems, folks. We can fix them. My hat says fix Michigan for a reason. But it takes all of you. You stood up in November of last year and you voted the greatest president back into office. It's our job to put a good team on the field so that you can stay motivated, stay excited, and want to get out there and vote again for the Republicans in August and November of next year. My question to you is, do you want more career politicians who have steered us wrong all this time? Do you want another lawyer in office that has manipulated and taken advantage of you? I'm not saying that Mike did that. I'm just saying lawyers in general. No offense, Kevin. We need full transparency and accountability, and you need a governor that will work with the Attorney General that says, Nessel, Benson, and Whitmer deserve a spot in jail. You need a governor that has no eggshells to tippy-toe around in Lansing, worried about what relationships they're going to break. I don't have those relationships. I don't care what they think. I care what you think. I'm here for you. I don't have to do this. Who in their right mind would put their name in this race? Trying to raise all that money, travel all over the state, get this message out. I am. And I've done a pretty good job at it. I've raised, I know that was my buzzer. I've raised about $30,000 in 10 months. Nowhere near the other opponents. I've spent $18,000. But I've been to 61 of our 83 counties. I've given 68 speeches. I've been in 17 parades and 16 festivals, and I've traveled 21,000 miles in my own personal vehicle. Don't tell me it's about the money. It's about the message. It's about the hard work and the desire to be successful. If I'm successful as a governor, you're successful as Michiganians. My name's Anthony Hudson. I'm running for governor. Why not?
Michal, we call you Tony. All right. Man, we have some amazing candidates here tonight. Our next candidate is also running for governor, and you may know her as the Axe My Tax Lady. However, tonight she's speaking on her governor candidacy. Oh goodness, I almost messed that word up. Carly Wagner here.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everybody. Yes, my name is Carla Wagner. A lot of you might know me as the Axe My Tax Lady. I had started property tax elimination, or Axe My Tax, 5 years ago. I had the vision 5 years ago to think and to look and to see what property taxes was doing to our great state of Michigan and to the people that live here. Our homes, our farms, and our businesses are being stolen from us through property taxes, and it is our own government that's taking our property away from us. And what are they using the money for? They're basically collateralizing our property for their spending, and we can't afford them anymore. So why did I enter the governor's race is because as I've been spending 5 years traveling the state, 150 plus presentations in over 70, I think 78 or 79 of the different counties now. I've been listening to what people have been saying, and they're all telling me that I'm on target with property tax elimination. But that is not enough to run a governor candidacy on, just property tax elimination. So if you look at the rat cards that are on the tables, you'll see on the back side I have a laundry list, and that's only half of my list of what I think needs to be fixed in the great state of Michigan if we are going to survive. Our state is bankrupt. We bring in about $48.5 billion. We're spending over $80 billion. That's a problem. We do not have a balanced budget here. I don't care what the people in Lansing try to tell you. There are so many things wrong, but I believe that by eliminating property taxes first, we secure the rights, the private ownership of our property. That is what we need to do first and foremost. By doing that, we will be sending less money to every government, township, county, and the state. We will be sending them less money to spend foolishly. They will have to reprioritize their spending to make sure that they are covering us with the essential services that they are expected to give to us, which is the protection of our lives, our liberties, and our property. Does not mean take it from us when we can't afford your bill. It means they're supposed to protect it for us. There are a lot of people that will talk about what needs to be done, but we need to find that person that's going to do it. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to be warm and fuzzy. I'm here to tell you the truth of the state of our state, the condition of our state. People don't want to hear it. They don't like to hear that we are bankrupt. They don't like to hear that the Republicans that we elected to represent us are not. They've been crabbing for 6 years about all of the dirty things the Democrats are doing to us. But you know what? The Republicans were in charge of writing the new budget. They only maybe took $2 billion off from it. They complained that it increased by $30 billion. Think about that, people. $30 billion. Our spending has increased in 6 years. Where in the heck did that money go? Because we haven't even fixed the damn roads. So if a $30 billion increase, almost doubling the budget, whose life has gotten better? I'll tell you, my life has not gotten better at all. Taxes have gone through the roof on so many different levels and so many different taxes. And the Republicans that we elected and put into office are the ones that are doing us dirty right now. There's 5 or 6 of them that I talk to quite a bit in Lansing, and you know what? They are starting to write property tax relief bills. I feel like you've made a difference. Started out as Axe My Tax. Started out as let's save people's property. All of these services, anyone please tell me which service do you pay for on your property tax bill that you're willing to lose your house to? I don't think there's one on there. Not for me. Not the library, not the zoo, not the museum. I don't want to lose my house to any of those things. None of them are more important than our home. Our home is our castle. I don't care what it looks like. That is where we're safe. That is our private property. George Washington even said it. Liberty and property ownership. You cannot have one without the other. And that's exactly right. Our movement of property tax elimination is only the beginning. But what we need to do is save your property while Lansing figures out what the crap is going on with their budget. If we want the government to spend less money, we have to send the government less money to spend. It is up to us, because we are the taxpayers. We are where the money comes from. And if we can't afford their spending anymore, what are we going to do about it? It comes down to, let's save our property while Lansing figures out their budget. And I can help them do that. I can help them do that. Because you know what? I have the guts and the grit and the tenacity and the knowledge to get it done. And when I have already had an effect on some of the most conservative Republicans in Lansing that are starting to write property tax relief bills because they understand that as I have gone across the state, listening to the people, I get phone calls, text messages, emails all day, every day. Breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. People losing their homes, losing their farms, their generational farms, losing their businesses. We are driving businesses out of Michigan. When we drive businesses out of Michigan, we drive jobs out of Michigan, we drive people out of Michigan, we drive revenue out of Michigan. And so what do? They turn around and tax us more to make up for the revenue that they're chasing out of our state. Oh, but wait, it gets better. Let's take billions of the taxpayer dollars and give it to foreign companies to come to Michigan and then forgive them property taxes when the businesses here in Michigan that built Michigan still have to pay them. That is called corporate favoritism, and it sucks. Our state is dying. Our state is dying. What are we going to do to fix it? We need to say no more, we're done. We don't want to leverage our houses for their spending. We have to make them reprioritize the spending in Lansing. They need to get back to the essentials so that we can live our lives with our money the way that we see fit. There are so many things that we can fix, but it has to be save our property first, fix the budget second. Hi, Jessica, do you want me to stop talking now? Just get up and say it, I can take it. There are so many things. Just one more. In the front of my rap card, I am a real estate agent. I'm a residential contractor. I prepared tax returns for 12 years. I own a small restaurant. I own an antique store. I was in law enforcement. I've done a multitude of things. I know what it takes to create a budget. I know what it takes to fix the state of Michigan. Carla Wagner running for governor 2026. Thank you very much.
There you go. You can have that.
I'm too nice for this job.
Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you, Carla. Our next candidate to speak tonight is also running for governor. We have a lot of governor candidates tonight, but it is going to be Ralph Reagan. Please give him a nice round of welcome. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you, Jessica. It's so good to see so many faces that I saw a couple years ago when I was running for governor. You know, there's a certain craziness and courage about jumping back in the race after you've done it once. And the reason why is because for the last 2 years, we have been running around the state helping citizens understand the importance of voting, our Judeo-Christian principles, and why they need to be engaged. And every morning I get up and I thank God that this man is our president. We won't always have Donald Trump as our president, friends. You know that. We need a strong governor who's willing to carry on his principles and willing to say, look, we're going to stand strong regardless. And so that's where I am. You know, and you hear everything that the other governor candidates are going to say, and that's perfectly fine. I would say I agree with everybody. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, Second Amendment, constitutionalist, conservative, Christian, and also compassionate. And I want to say this. We have more than a palm card with just bullet points. Friends, we have a plan to fix those bullet points. We're not putting up a wish list of things that we want to do. We learned so much from the last run, and we have a team that has grown so much that we have people in place already that I could announce and say, this is my medical director, this is my director, this is my office director. We've got people that said, Ralph, we're behind you already. And I'm happy to report to you this evening, as I announced, 4 weeks ago, to some of this group, I said, you know, hey, I'm announcing, and here we go, and you're the first ones to hear this. The reality is, in the last 4 weeks, we have raised, we're hoping to have raised $1 million. We have about $915,000 right now that we raised in the last 4 weeks. We have had people ask for petition sheets that are equal to 11,000 signatures in the last 4 weeks. People are coming to us saying, Ralph, we want you on the ballot. You have to send us X amount. We'll get 1,000, we'll get 200, we'll get 50. It's just absolutely, it blows our mind. Because last time, we're like, where do we go? Oh, the car show, the gun shows. But people are asking, and so we're just excited about what's going on. So if I was to ask you, if you may be thinking, well, Ralph, what separates you from everybody else? First of all, this little pin on my lapel. The Michigan Chiefs of Police have endorsed me again for running for governor. They have said, Ralph, you're the only guy that we can trust. That's what they've said. They voted unanimously. Southeastern Chiefs voted unanimously to endorse me as their candidate. If you look at my tie, it's gold. We are going to promote and process transactional gold legislation. Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution, Section 10, says that states can process or use as legal tender their own gold and silver depositories. Texas, Arkansas, Utah, and Florida have already signed these bills. You say, well, why are you doing that, Ralph? Well, because right now there's a move for central bank digital currency. It's a globalist perspective, and they want to be able to control your money. If we institute this, not if, but when we institute this, it protects your investment in the state. And yes, I agree with Carla on Axe My Tax. I've been supporting that for more than 2 years as she started this out. And so it's really, really important that we do that as well. But here's the thing. Your investments, your money has to be protected and backed by something that's not just paper. And that's why we're going to do this in Michigan. It's an amazing process, it's an amazing opportunity for us, and we want to see that happen. We will see that happen. The other thing that we're going to do on the other side of the fence is we are going to institute a cryptocurrency, state-backed cryptocurrency. Now I know for people my age, you're like, what does that mean and how does this work? What is blockchain technology and all this stuff? And the reality is, folks, there are people who do scammers out there. And I have several coins, several wallets in cryptocurrency, but there's a difference between cryptocurrency and digital currency. Digital currency is when the government can tell the bank to turn off your account. You all remember what happened in Canada during COVID when the truck drivers protested everything that was going on. What did the government do? Trudeau? Turn off their accounts. Their wives are calling saying, hey, we need you to get off, get back to, don't block the freeways anymore. That's governmental control of your money, and that's the way you can lose it. Cryptocurrency is different than digital currency. Cryptocurrency is a one step removed from that. People buy things with crypto. You can buy a house with Bitcoin. You can buy cars with it. I mean, this is a whole different ballgame, and it was started to keep government out of your money. So this is going to be an incredible transformation in our state as well. I'm going to conclude with these two things. Friends, my whole life, I have been uniting husbands and wives who are ready to kill each other. Children who were having problems with their parents. I have counseled people and brought together people on both sides of the fence. After I ran for governor the first time, this is what's really strange. I had what we would call establishment people calling me to be a parliamentarian, and I had people who were grassroots calling me to be parliamentarian. I'm just like, well, I'm going to offend one of these groups. But the reality is, they saw in me an honesty, following the rules guy. And that's what I did. And why do I tell you that story? We will never fix Michigan with throwing money at it. That's what Lansing does. Let's either throw money at it, let's vote on it, and let's say we wash our hands of it now because we've taken care of that. That doesn't fix the state. You won't fix the state unless you fix the city. You won't fix the city unless you fix the neighborhood. You won't fix the neighborhood unless you fix the family. Friends, my whole life, that's what I've been doing. And I'm convinced that I can straighten this state out because I've been fixing it my whole life. I could stand people up here with you and they'd say, Ralph brought us together. We were ready to kill each other. But here's the last thing I want to say. As conservatives, when we win, we quit. When we lose, we quit. We have to quit quitting. Exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ralph. Excellent. He's right. I mean, that's what we do. We quit when we win and we quit when we lose. We gotta quit quitting. Anyways, our next candidate, and will be the final speaker before our little 15-minute break that we're going to have for the silent auction, for bathroom breaks, before our keynote speakers tonight, will be the candidate Doug Lloyd. He's running for Attorney General. So, I'm not excited for tonight's talk, but welcome and thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doug Lloyd, and I am here to tell you how I am working hard to be your Attorney General. In all niceness to Mr. Hudson, in order to be Attorney General, you must be a lawyer. So it's kind of a one important position in government that you actually have to be a lawyer for. So just so we realize that not all lawyers are bad. So let me give you a little history about me. I've been an attorney for 34 years. I've been a prosecutor for the last 30. Since 2013, I've been the elected prosecutor in Eaton County, where I've won 4 elections as a Republican in a very purple county. I'm a past president of the Prosecuting Attorneys Association of Michigan, and I've been the conservative voice when it comes to actually dealing with the fight against crime. With me, you don't get ideas. You get a proven conservative leader who's actually been part of the fight. And that's exactly why I got into this race, because Michigan needs a change. For the past years, what we've had is we've had a Twitter-typing, headline-chasing political activist. We had an individual who went into the job of Attorney General and forgot that the job was about 10 million people. Instead, made it about herself. That's not what an Attorney General should do. That's not what anyone in public service should ever do. You're here to serve the public. And so as I go around the state and I talk to people, they tell me, you know what, we're really tired of people just getting in and telling us how they're going to do their agenda. We're really tired of people coming in and saying, well, we have all these ideas, but they're untested and then most likely end up unproven. What they're actually looking for is they're looking for someone who is actually going to be there, who knows how to solve problems because they've already done it. They know how to fix what's broken, and they know how to provide leadership. Well, that's Doug Lloyd as your Attorney General. See, I'm going to take my 34 years of experience to Lansing, that's 4 years as a private attorney, and 30 years prosecuting drug dealers, rapists, murderers, and even corrupt politicians. That's decades of trying some of the most evil crimes. And it's decades of actually teaching and mentoring attorneys. Something important when you're actually dealing with attorneys in an office such as Attorney General. And it's decades of public service. See, we hear a lot about when we're listening to candidate forums as far as, things I want to do. Well, I've already done it. When we talk about things such as COVID, well, I was the elected prosecutor in 2020. And when the governor wanted to put down mandates as far as forcing people to take the vaccine, I fought back. I said in my office, it's going to be about personal choice. And in my county, there was a desire to have the Attorney General or the governor actually try to close down businesses. I said no. Those businesses are small and they're just trying to survive. And that's exactly why I've been endorsed by the Common Law Group. You might remember them. They were the attorneys who actually represented the barber who was just trying to make money during COVID. And everybody goes, well, I have ideas of what I want to do, when I get there. Well, I've already done those as well. I helped start an economic crime unit in my county that's returned over $10 million to area businesses. I've helped create specialty courts, such as the Veterans Treatment Court, that takes a veteran who, as a lot of you know, has troubles of their own, and they enter the criminal justice system and they get special help so that when they come out the other side, they're productive citizens. I've also was very proud of the fact that I was one of the first counties that actually brought in a canine victim advocate, a black lab named Reagan. And his sole job was to sit with children who were there for some of the most traumatic events in their life. That's why I'm endorsed by over 60 prosecutors, former judges, and plenty of sheriffs, including former prosecutor Tom Weichel here in Alcona. And people talk about, well, we need to change legislation. Well, I've done that too. I've worked with the legislature dozens of times. Sometimes they don't like it because I'll actually fight back against bad law when they're trying to pass it. And I've worked with the legislature to actually create good law, such as a parole reform that actually keeps the most violent offenders behind bars. Like a serial killer that's personal to me because he's out of one of my counties. Name's Don Miller, you can look him up. Killed 4 women and they're still trying to let him out. That's exactly why I'm endorsed by former Senator Rick Jones. I'm endorsed by former Judiciary Chair Graham Filler and our current House of Reps Judiciary Chair Sarah Leitner. See, ladies and gentlemen, the experience is already there, so there's going to be nothing new for me when I go to the Attorney General's office. I won't need to put on training wheels. I won't need to have lessons. I'm ready to go day one. And so when I am your Attorney General, here's what you can expect from me. Bottom line, baseline, I am going to protect your God-given constitutional rights. Because as an elected prosecutor and as a prosecutor itself, I've sworn to that Constitution and I've been doing it for decades. If we are going to charge anyone with a crime or we're going to take a political suit, not a political, if we're going to take a civil suit, then that is going to be based on the law and the Constitution. Political activism, political lawfare, that stops day one. I'm actually going to work with the legislature because if you've noticed the law that's been created lately, it's bad. And part of the reason it's bad is because there aren't any attorneys actually in the legislature to help provide good counsel. And as the Attorney General, they are the chief legal officer of the state. They're there to defend the state, to uphold your rights, and to provide that good legal counsel. I'll make sure that gets done. Finally, the most important for me is that there are plenty of cases that we've all wondered about for the last 6 years of why are they there? Well, as a citizen of the state, I've wondered the same thing. I'm going to take my 34 years of experience and my common sense and personally pull those cases in and review them myself and use that experience and common sense to make that determination. Since everybody's else gone, you give me 30 seconds, I appreciate it. Vote for Doug Lloyd is a vote for actually bringing about integrity, accountability, and leadership. And when you vote for Doug Lloyd as Attorney General, that's exactly what you're going to get.
Thank you, Doug. I'm just too nice. You just ask me one more time. So at this time, we are going to take a quick 10-15 minute break before we get to our keynote speakers. This is the perfect time to check on your bids, make sure no one outbid you. Remember, this is a fundraiser. This is also the perfect time to use the restroom and to talk to the candidates in the room. Also, if you're interested in your program, there's some Americanisms in there. There's stuff about Trump in there, even part of his speech. There's stuff from Lincoln and Reagan and all about the Alcona GOP. So I hope you take a look at that. And yeah, we'll see you again in about 10-15 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to start off by saying, wow, what a bench. We have a deep, deep bench. Again.
There you go.
I'm a loud boy, so I don't want to make everybody hear too. But bottom line is we've got a deep bench, and we have to win the midterms. So what I'm here to do is to pass out Promethean Actions pamphlets, and this pamphlet explains the difference between the old Republican Party and the new Republican Party that Trump is fostering. It's going to bring the workers and the businesses together and make this an indomitable party for many decades to come. So please, take handfuls of them. I've got them over the table over there. Give them to your Democratic friends. They actually like them. And it's a powerful, powerful pamphlet. And thank you very much for letting me present it to you. Have a great night. Thank you.
I actually need to pause my timer. Okay, well thank you, Michael. He was like, I'm going to be quick. I'm like, yeah, let's be all right. So, Mr. Kievsky, where is he? Uh-oh. All right, so he will go. Yeah, he might be in the restroom. So,
he's still
let's.
Here. Is he outside smoking?
He might be. So, slight change in schedule. Next, we will hear from a friend of mine who has been a wonderful leader for the 1st Congressional District. She is the chairwoman, and she is here tonight. Her name is Dara Rendon. Please give her a warm round of applause. Thank you, Dara. Oh, I know, right?
That was like a red carpet. Thank you. This is a pretty exciting evening. I gotta be honest with you. I've never even been over here in this part of the state. I was a state rep prior to this behind my husband, and he had more of the eastern counties than I did because of redistricting. So I never really got to spend much time. And when you're a state representative in northern Michigan or a senator, or a congressman. You have a lot more turf to cover than you do downstate. And you have to drive a little bit further between each little conclave of humans. So when you have 5 counties to watch over, you're pretty busy in your own 5 counties, and then you have to be in Lansing too. So I really appreciate it. However, not until I was first district chair did I realize how vast it really is. And I still haven't been through all of it. I'm looking forward to doing that. My name is Dear Rendon. I'm the chair of the 1st Congressional Republican District. We are #1 in the state of Michigan. And we're proud. We're proud to be Republicans, and we come from strong stuff up here. You've got to be. If you've never lived in the state of Michigan before, if you've lived in any other place south of Michigan, Michigan seems to be a long way away, but when you get into our region, you're dealing with Mother Nature on a much more regular basis. And folks around here can tell you, we heard from them loud and clear last winter when that terrible ice storm came. Our state will not survive if we cannot elect Republicans across the board. We need a new governor, secretary of state, attorney general, and we're going to get it done. And not only that, we're going to take back the House and the Senate. And we are going to do it in a big surplus of votes. The Democrat Party is falling apart. What's going on in D.C. right now? Shutdown. How many of you ever remember in your lifetime a government shutdown like we are experiencing today? How many of you didn't get your Social Security check because of the government shutdown? Wow, that's amazing. Trump made it happen, didn't he? This guy is keeping the ball rolling. Our military is getting paid. And all of those government workers who weren't cutting their weight are getting wiped out. That's a lot of money we pay for staff. And our president is taking care of the American people in a way that we've never been taken care of before. He's fortifying our cities. He's bringing in the National Guard and he's bringing in the troops. And he needs us to bring back Michigan. And we are going to do it. Let me give you a little hint of what, if you're not aware, of just exactly what the Democrats are asking for before they'll open the government. And it's kind of frightening when you think about it, but this is on their list of demands. They're demanding $5 billion in foreign funding to be sent overseas. $5 million for LGBTQ democracy grants in the Balkans. $2 million for feminist Democrat principles in Africa. $25 million for Honduras for climate resiliency. Oh, this one you're really going to know. $490 million for PBS. $490 million. $157 million for security for members of Congress. Now remember, this is a Democrats list. They are. And here's another one. $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. $4.2 million for LGBTQ people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. There's more than this on this list. I just give you some highlights. But you get the picture. These people are the party of insanity. And we see it today with these King's rallies that are supposed to be taking over the state. It's not happening. Tonight, you have heard from some outstanding candidates. And I have to say, I'm impressed by the quality of people that we've got running in our races. We have a big job to do. We have to galvanize every single person that we can. And we have to understand that in past primaries, here in the state of Michigan, we rarely hit over 20% participation. This year, that's not going to cut it, folks. We got to get out there and we got to get people to the polls, and we have to get them to vote. And we have to remind them of all the things that will be on the ballots. And there will be plenty. And I'm going to mention the elephant in the room, which is ranked choice voting. That will be facing us on the ballot. And I have to say, I'm very proud. We have 3 or 4 counties here in the 1st Congressional District who have already put forth resolutions saying that they are not in favor of ranked choice voting. So we will be posting all of them on our 1st Congressional District website. This past week, the Michigan County Clerks Association, all of them signed on to a resolution as well. So we are going to let people know what ranked choice voting is all about, and we are not going to let the Dems get away with us. Folks, it's time to call out our neighbors, our kids, everybody we can, and get them to the polls. We have data, and if every little small community is looking for walk lists or how to contact voters, the Michigan GOP has that information. We can pull lists for you. You can start working early. You don't have to wait till the last minute. And sometimes, the exciting thing is, you can call people on the phone. And cell phone numbers are important because that's what most people are using these days. And our databases have those numbers as well. Make use of them. Use the telephone if you can't get there. It is that important. And you probably know yourself, when you get a phone call from a live person who you don't know but is very courteous, you're going to call them back. I've done it myself many times and I've never regretted it. And so that's what we have to do. We have to think out of the box, especially if we have an ice storm. We can use our cell phones, and it's time to do it. I want to make a note, too, of the sacrifice that our candidates make to do this for us. Each and every candidate here has to raise funds. And that's why we're here tonight, folks. Every county GOP, every fundraiser you can make plans to be there. Not only will you get to talk to these folks one-on-one, you can get your checkbook out and write them a check. Every little bit helps. If it's only $5 or $10, that's fine. But let them know you're supporting them. This is a lot of work and a lot of energy, and there is not a single candidate who's here tonight, or maybe isn't here, that can't use some help with their campaign. We all want to see them succeed. So I have to thank Alcona County for this beautiful event. I think it's very impressive. Jeff and Jess, you guys have done an outstanding job. I know this is the first one you've done, and it's worked out very well. Great auction items, but the facility is probably the biggest surprise of all. And that's why, right now, I would like to, I think Mr. Shaw is in the back of the room, and Mr. Shaw has agreed to take everyone on a tour of the building. He is the developer for this, and if you were to see the entire facility here, you would be blown away. So I'm going to end it with that. I'm not going to talk all night. We've heard from the candidates. They're the ones that matter. And I think maybe, is Chris Long going to speak? Okay, so I'm going to have Chris come up here and, no, he's not going to speak?
Kevin.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin's speaking. I had the wrong, I'm sorry. Kevin is speaking. He's going to get it up. for you guys. So here you go, Tom. Thank you.
So I guess you get a double header with me. I talk about the campaign in addition to being the keynote, so I'm going to keep this still relatively short. Okay, it's going to be a little longer than 5 minutes. It's going to certainly be shorter than 15. But my name is Kevin Kiewski. I'm running for Attorney General. You can say it the Polish way, which is Kiewski. You can say Kaczewski, which is the anglicized way. I really don't care. I only care if my Polish mother is in the room, and she is not. So there we go. So again, I'm running for Attorney General. I'm doing that really for 3 different reasons. Number 1, I want to restore actual security and stop the lawfare. Number 2, I want for everyone to have your constitutional rights restored. And 3rd, I want to restore your faith in government. So first, I'm going to ask some gentleman over here in the back that just took a photo of me to please stand up. Cliff, can you stand up for a moment? Cliff Frost was a client of mine, and he's actually the victim of lawfare because he's one of the 16 GOP electors that was charged by the current Attorney General with sham charges regarding the 2020 election. I had really no proud day other than, frankly, September 9th of this year regarding this case. Why? Because the judge threw the case out of court because Cliff stood up for your constitutional rights. Cliff, thank you. So I'm going to tell you a little story about Cliff. So Cliff came to my office after a lot of other attorneys said, I don't know if I want to take this, or I got to think about it. Cliff told me his story. They were trying to put him in prison for up to 14 years. Absolutely ludicrous. But you know what? The case got really interesting. I had MSNBC come to the office and they did an interview, and they did ask me early on in this particular case, Cliff, your client, and did he believe that when it came to Donald Trump, did he win? And I said, well, take a look at the alternate election certificate that he signed. And I showed them the certificate. I explained the whole theory of the case. And in fact, when it came to MSNBC, I didn't necessarily think that the reporter would say, you know, I agree with you, but they appeared pretty convinced. Except that they didn't put any of that other stuff on TV. If they did, perhaps this would have been short-circuited by quite a few years. The bottom line is, when you take a look at the current Attorney General, you know what she did? She went to talk to a big group of liberal folks in California, boasting about this case, saying that when it came to Cliff Frost, in addition to the other Republican alternate electors, you know what? I decided to charge him where in Ingham County. You know why? Because it's a very Democratic county, and there are Democratic jurors there, and they're going to convict him. And second, they basically don't believe, you know, that when it came to Biden, he won. They truly believe that when it came to Donald Trump, he won the election. Well, I smiled ear to ear when I heard that. You know why? Because when it comes to forgery, fraud, or any of those type of related crimes, you have to have specific criminal intent. So she knew this early on, that they didn't have the required criminal intent, but she decided to charge him anyway. Some of these folks, they actually had to expend, not necessarily Cliff, but others, up to $250,000 to $300,000 to mount a defense. That day, September 9th, when the judge actually finally dismissed that case, I'm sitting right in front of her. And you know what ended up happening? Counsel that was sitting right to my right next to me, leaned over and said, she's reading directly from your brief. Yes, because we have to do the judge's homework for her. Any competent lawyer needs to do that. But you know what the Attorney General has been doing? Instead of doing what she's supposed to do, she's going after Cliff. And she also sued Donald Trump 32 times. You know what else she did? She increased the staffing in her office by 50% ever since she took office. Almost almost 7 years ago, not quite. And her budget went up from about $104 million to just shy of $130 million. So she's taking your money, wasting it on lawfare, wasting it on her own weird political stuff. And you guess what is going to happen when I get elected? It's going to come to an end. So when it comes to Cliff, this will never happen again, ever to you. Cliff, thanks so much for your witness. That wasn't my first rodeo with the Attorney General. My first rodeo actually was when I was superintendent for the Archdiocese of Detroit Catholic Schools during COVID of all times. I had 90 schools, 30,000 kiddos, 3,000 employees. Everyone remembers what happened during COVID. If this facility were open at that time, it would be shut down. Schools were shut down. You had businesses shut down, churches shut down, everything's shut down. You even actually had prosecutors, a lot of Democrats, and actually some Republicans, that prosecuted people for violating the stay-at-home orders. Absolutely not acceptable whatsoever. But you know what I did when I was superintendent? Second time that she tried to actually shut down the high schools, I sued her in federal court, 42 U.S.C. 1983 action. And guess what? I got her to back down, and all of our high schools, November of 2020, remained open. And you know why? Because the governor decided to have an impromptu press conference just hours before the judge was going to give his temporary restraining order decision. And guess what? We knew it was going to come down in our favor because the Attorney General's office did a terrible job. She had an impromptu press conference, breaking news, channels 2, 4, and 7 if you're in Detroit. She goes up to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, the science and the evidence has changed. All the kids can go back to school. Why did that happen? Because Democrats do not want to lose control. What do they want to control? You. They want to control what you do, where you go, and frankly, what you say and what you think. And guess what? As your next Attorney General, I hope we have a Republican governor, but irrespective of a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, if we have any type of lockdowns in the future, I represent all 10 million citizens of the state of Michigan, and I will make sure things stay open, and I will sue the governor on your behalf. No more lockdowns, no more shutdowns, no more violation of your constitutional rights, because we're not going to put up with it anymore. Now, the next thing I just really want to kind of talk about is taking a look at your constitutional rights. And this is sort of more so what I was going to be talking about as part of the keynote. Again, my campaign got merged with this particular portion here regarding the Constitution. So let me say 3 things I'm going to do in order to restore your constitutional rights. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a whole bunch more too, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Number 1, I believe in constitutional carry. And we're going to bring that here to the state of Michigan. With all due respect to gubernatorial candidates, I'm actually the only person that can do it through an Attorney General opinion. Let me explain what an Attorney General opinion is. It's basically when it comes to the state constitution, state statute, anything that's law related here within the state of Michigan, you can actually write an interpretive memorandum essentially saying what the state of the law is, as long as it doesn't violate a state Supreme Court decision or something along those lines. Guess what? You have, right now, open carry. You know why you have that? Because of a prior Attorney General opinion. It's not because of a governor. It's not because of some type of state statute or anything like that. Well, I'm just going to update it with recent U.S. Supreme Court precedent. The Heller decision is one that comes to mind, and a whole bunch of others, because you should not have to worry about if you go to Walmart, like in Traverse City, you're going to get stabbed, and a whole bunch of other people are going to get stabbed, but hey, you know what? I didn't have a CPL. That's ridiculous. You should be able to have a gun to protect your family, your home, your kids, your church members. I mean, it's ridiculous what happened over there in the LDS church. You had all of those people killed, murdered. Why did that happen? Well, guns don't kill people. stupid people, or evil people, or mentally ill people kill people, and let's arm our citizens. Let's not take the guns away. You know, another thing too, again, it's no King's Day, right? I hate this nonsense. I got a few things or anecdotes to talk about that because I encountered a few things on the way up here from Oakland County, driving up to God's country over here. I'll tell you about them in a moment. But, you know, it's interesting. Our governor has been acting like a queen, hasn't she? You know one thing that she has done? Hey, the 35th Senate District. They've gone without representation by the time that special election is called for about a year. 1 year. But the Constitution of the state of Michigan says you shall call a special election. It doesn't give you a time frame. Well, guess what? I'm going to write an Attorney General opinion that's going to define, and it would be actually final and binding on the governor until state Supreme Court, if they want to, say otherwise. Well, here's what a reasonable amount of time looks like. I'm not going to choose like 15 days or something like that, but it's going to be consistent with state statute, state law, case law to say, you know what, it shouldn't be a year for sure. I don't know, 60, 90 days, that sounds pretty reasonable, but again, we're going to give the governor some latitude, but no way are they going to abuse the process to keep you silent. So that's the second AG opinion I'm going to do. The third, thank you. As well, when we take a look at AG opinions and restoring your constitutional rights, I'm going to be writing one in order to really well define the role and the rights of parents and students. Because I'm going to tell you what, you have the radical left coming after each and every one of your children. How many of you have heard about those awful health standards that the Michigan Board of Education was attempting to do? A lot of you. Yes, Ralph was there, I was there, Monica was there. I was the only AG candidate there. And I told the Michigan Board of Education what they were doing, apart from, you know, being wrong morally, which it is, more so from a legal perspective, they're violating the law. Because we have a law here in Michigan, a statute that says sex education and health education are two separate things. Sex education you can opt out of, there are parental advisory boards, you have all these other things in place, right? But what they wanted to do was to say that when it came to gender identity, in addition to biological sex, well, we got to teach kids all about this, and we're going to not do it as part of sex ed, that's optional. We're going to put it into health, which is a required class for graduation. That is not legal. And I told, face to face, looking at Dr. Pugh and everyone else on that board, we only have 2 Republicans on that board, by the way. This is why this election is so important. But I looked them straight in the eye, and I told them, look, as Michigan's next Attorney General, I don't care if it's any school district or state actor, we're not going to put up with violations of the law because parents are the primary educators of their children. I'm going to fight for all of our children. You see, when it comes to being the Attorney General of the state of Michigan, yes, criminal prosecutions are part of it. That's actually kind of not what it's really about, though, in the totality. There's a lot of civil law litigation that you have to do, such as, frankly, taking a look at constitutional rights. Prosecutors, for the most part, in a criminal context, do that, but if you're taking a look at the civil context, a lot of them don't have that experience. This guy does. This guy actually went ahead and filed, on behalf of Cliff, a federal case against Dana Nessel, suing her, and we went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. So Cliff, thank you for that, allowing me to do that on your behalf, because you know what? We showed Dana Nessel that we're serious. But in terms of being the Attorney General, it's all about consumer protection as well. So I actually have a class action lawsuit. I don't know how many of you guys know this. I know a handful of you know. But we're suing Comerica Bank on behalf of all these people who get SSDI, basically disability benefits from the Social Security Administration. Because you know what Comerica Bank was doing for years? We call this skimming the float. They were actually taking interest out of any type of interest payments that they were supposed to actually pay people. They basically earned hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars doing this. By the way, the federal government paid them hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. That's called double dipping. That's not right. So if that's not consumer protection, I don't know what is. But in terms of actually fighting for you, I will make sure that no one's going to ever take advantage of any Michigan citizen, let alone all 10 million. Now, here's the other thing I just want to tell you regarding what I want to do. The third thing I want to do is to basically take a look at our elections and restore our faith in them. We have great Secretary of State candidates. We're going to get it done. I believe that we're going to elect a great Republican Secretary of State. But again, we have 15 individuals that voted in the last election that were not U.S. citizens. We only know that because there was just a brief mention from the Secretary of State regarding who they were and saying, oh, you got to trust me. I don't trust any of that. So we're going to actually work with the Election Integrity Committee that's part of the Michigan House of Representatives, take all their information, and no matter how high or how low, we're going to bring people to account because our elections are sacred and your rights should not be diluted. I actually didn't get to any of the stuff I wanted to talk about regarding the Constitution. But with that being said, that's okay. You know what I'm going to do with the Constitution. I don't need training wheels, and you know why? Because I've done this. I'm the only one that stood up. I'm the only one that will stand up for your rights. Kevin4mi.com, thank you so much, and let's make Michigan red again. Thank you.
So, a tour of the place. After our keynote speaker, we'll announce the winners of the silent auction, and that'll be the wrap for our part of it. So then Andy can take you guys on the tour if you want to go, and you can have a fun night. Not here. But our final keynote speaker is the Michigan GOP Grassroots Vice Chair, Chris Long, and I am excited to hear what he has to say. So please give him a warm welcome.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I was invited here tonight to speak about something that every patriot instinctively feels deep down. Can the little guy still win? Can we, the people, still make a difference? And let me tell you, not only can we win, what happened in Alcona County is proof. I wasn't invited here to speak simply because I hold the title of Grassroots Vice Chairman of the MIGOP. Oh, I already started. Yeah, because what we accomplished in the fight against the Chinese Communist Party Goshen Battery Plant. A fight that wasn't theoretical, it was not academic. A fight that wasn't about opinions or feelings. It was about our land, our future, and our sovereignty. The truth is, our township board, our commissioners, our county commissioners, and our local officials sold us out to the Chinese Communist Party and their Goshen Battery Plant. They tried to dress it up as economic development. We saw it for what it was, a foreign-backed corporate colonization and corporate welfare of our tax dollars to the CCP. But here's what happened. We rose up, fought back, and 13 elected officials, 13 were recalled, primaried, and removed from office for betraying. They were removed from office for betraying their constituents. They sold us out. And while the media won't say it and the elites don't want to admit it, our movement, our resistance worked. That project is now stalled, delayed, and dragged through the Federal Court of Appeals, not because we're suing them, but because they're suing us. Let that sink in. A township of just 3,000 people was sued by $1 billion CCP corporation because our elected officials that we put in dared to listen to the constituents. That's a dangerous precedent being set that corporations, not citizens, call the shots. That elected officials must answer to the investors, not the voters. That's not just wrong, that's evil. And it's the bigger war we are in. Now, through prayer and the grace of God, and yes, paying a lot of money to some very sharp lawyers, we hope to bury the project once and for all. But make no mistake, even if they build the plant, even if they pour concrete, even if they build walls, the fight is not over. We will not back down. We will not be silenced. We will not surrender. We will fight until this project is completely dead or until the first bell for that production shift rings. And if that day comes, we will be there. So how did we get this far? People often think grassroots efforts are chaotic, unstructured, and leaderless. But that kind of movement leads to noise, not change. That wasn't us. We weren't just activists, we were a political machine, a movement with a single mission: stop the plant. We had strategy, we had discipline, we had purpose. We planned, we organized, we execute. Every single action we did was calculated. Every protest, every press release, every video, every social media post was calculated. We did not react, we acted. We didn't play checkers, we played chess. And that's where most grassroots efforts fail. They confuse motion with progress. They confuse activity with accomplishment. I can't tell you how many times people will come to me and say, "Chris, the opposition is doing some type of protest downtown and we need to counter it." And I'd say, "Do we have the numbers?" They say, "No, but you can rally the people." And I'd say, "What's the message? What's the purpose? What's the goal for this particular protest?" Most of the time they didn't have one. It was simply to react to the other side. It was a tit-for-tat type game. That's not strategy. That's reaction. That's noise. That's a protest for the sake of protesting. That's also letting your opponent control the agenda rather than you. We never did that. When we protested, we did it with power, with numbers, and with purpose. Our actions weren't emotional. They were intentional. And that's why we won. Our grassroots movement was structured like an onion. Layered, strategic, and effective. Not everyone knew the plan, not everyone needed to know, and not everyone knew all the layers. This was not because we were not being transparent. It was because we were protecting the integrity of the mission, and everyone played their part. At the center of our core team was a tight inner circle of strategists, I being one of them. We had a spokesperson, Lori Brock, the horse farmer whose property sat across from the site. She became the emotional core of our movement, the face. She did the interviews, she did the media interviews, and told the story. She was the human element that drew people in, made them care, and made them angry. The rest of us, we were behind the scenes, for the most part, crafting the message, directing the narrative. Because here's the reality, those who craft the message control the battlefield. I like to think of it as the message is the proverbial football, and the narrative is the football game. Politics is a sport of the mind, war of ideas, battlefield of thought. And this, my friends, is why Republicans and grassroots conservatives so often lose. We lose the narrative. We focus on being morally right and technically right, and the left focuses on controlling how it sounds, the emotional appeal, the virtue signaling. Republicans make good ideas sound bad, and Democrats make bad ideas sound great. Guess who wins? Democrats. Think back to Proposal 3 in 2022. What was our message? How did we counter that? We said, too confusing, too complex. That was our tagline, and it failed miserably. What was their message? Women's health care. Simple, emotional, powerful. It was a lie. We all know it, but it was effective. And it's happening again right now with ranked choice voting. What's our messaging? Too confusing, too complex. Sound familiar? Meanwhile, the left is out there educating and reframing the narrative, controlling the language. And we're sitting back playing professor while they're playing preacher, preaching about fairness. Our job is not to educate on policy we didn't create. Our job is to break the spell, flip the frame, and drive the message home. So what's the message? In Michigan, the person with the most votes wins. Ranked choice changes that. Under ranked choice voting, the person with the most votes could lose. That's your message. Say it, repeat it, write it down so you don't forget it. Another reason we won in Mecosta County is simple. We worked with everyone. We didn't care if you're black, white, brown, pink, purple, whatever color you are. We didn't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. We didn't care if you called yourself grassroots or establishment. If you worked with us towards our common goal, we locked arms with you. If you worked against us, we fought you. Period. Now here's the reality. The people we removed from office weren't Democrats. They are Republicans. Republicans who have been in power for years. The local elites. The so-called pillars of the community. And yes, many of you would label them as establishment, but let's dig a little deeper because the truth is far more complicated. Inside our movement and across the MIGOP or across Republicans in general, there are 4 major factions. First off, the grassroots. These are the doers. These are the doers. The patriots. The people who rise up when they see wrong being done. Whether it's election integrity, medical freedom, lockdowns, mandates, or just pure corruption. They're driven by conviction, emotion, and principle. But here's the hard truth. Many of them make the decisions based on passion, not precision. They want to be right, morally, ethically, and academically, even if it costs them a win. And that's where I'm going to have to say something very controversial, but it's true. Principles without power are nothing more than good ideas. Our principles must be our guiding compass, not our crutch. They are the North Star that guides us, not the boat that carries us. They light the path ahead, but the path itself is long, winding, and filling with obstacles, and even narrow. We might not reach the destination tomorrow. We might not score the touchdown in every drive. But as long as we're moving that ball forward, gaining yards, advancing towards that goal, we are making progress. If we only worship our principles, but never marry them together with action, we remain righteous, but remain defeated. Being ideologically pure while losing elections after elections and allowing the enemy to advance their agenda will not earn your accolade, well done, good and faithful servant. It's actually the political equivalent of throwing your pearls to swine. Scripture tells us to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. We often forget the first part. If God's principles are dear to you, you are not advancing them by being the most righteous person at the loser's table. Reagan said it best. There are a lot of problems in our country, and many people are praying and waiting for God to do something. I just wonder if God isn't waiting for us to do something. You see, when you step up and take action, God will assist your effort. When we stood up in Mecosta County, God brought together the right people, the right resources to win. That's what happens when you put words to action. Then you have the other faction, the establishment. Say the word and people flinch, I know. But hear me out. These are the folks with the institutional knowledge, the relationships, the networks that keep the gears of the political machine turning. They know the rules, they know the process, the data, they calculate risk. Are they cautious? Absolutely. Sometimes too much. But unprincipled, not always. In fact, many of them share the same conservative values. They're just learned how to use their principles to achieve results. The grassroots fights with fire. The establishment fights with structure. The truth is, we need both. The movement dies without passion, but it collapses without structure. Then comes the third faction, the good old boys. Many people confuse this faction with the establishment, but they are distinctively different. These people are the real problem, the commerce at all costs folks. They don't care about ideology. They don't care about your conviction. They don't have conviction or values. All they want is access and influence. They don't attend meetings. They don't volunteer. They don't door knock. To them, politics is a business transaction, a means to protect their interests, not their country, not their state. They don't care who wins, as long as they win. They are the ones we removed from office in Mecosta County. They are the ones who sold out our community to the CCP. And make no mistake, they are the true enemy from within, the real rhinos, the real globalists. The fourth faction are the infiltrators and disruptors. We had them in Mecosta County too. It was early summer 2023. We were gathering signatures for a recall and preparing our local legal battle to stop the Goshen Battery plant from buying the land at that time. We had momentum, organization, and something powerful. A $100,000 donor ready to back us up. The donor wasn't from Lansing or DC, just a patriotic American businessman with the resources who wanted to help with no strings attached. Now, he only asked for public acknowledgement, a simple rally or a check presentation, a photo op to show the community that the fight was real and that he was willing to help. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, according to one person, no. At one of our meetings, this individual who had been arguing for months that we've been too focused on the CCP aspect instead of the environmental angle went ballistic. She accused us of selling out to the rhinos, selling out and taking globalist money, being controlled by the establishment. She claimed we were compromising our integrity, when in truth, all we were doing was trying to fund our fight. Her paranoia didn't stop there. She directly contacted the donor behind our backs and unloaded a conspiracy-filled rant that scared him off completely. He never gave the money. He never took our calls again. He thinks we're crazy. And because of one person's ego and self-righteousness, we lost a $100,000 donation that could have paid the lawyers and prevented or delayed Goshen from buying the land from the start. Think about it. One person's arrogance and mistrust sabotaged an entire movement. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because it's exactly what's happening in our party for years. She later splintered off and formed her own purist group, ran people against us in those elections, badmouthed us to the press, and wrecked other communities that were fighting the same fight. Marshall, Mundy. By the way, every candidate she ran lost. Every battle she has fought, lost. With no juice or power, no credibility to affect change, she is now relegated to the fringe. Nobody takes her serious anymore. If she had any real desire to help, it's long been squandered, because now she's irrelevant. And here's the lesson from all this. We as Republicans, as Christians, conservatives, those fighting for liberty, we have fallen into the same trap the left has perfected: division. We've been baited into believing that our enemy is each other. Grassroots versus establishment. Haves versus have-nots. Those who know the rules versus those who don't. It's the same Hegelian dialectic trick that the left has used for a century. The Marxist tactic of perpetual division. That the haves and have-nots narrative doesn't come from conservatism. It's straight out of Marxist book. And it's their language. They say black versus white, rich versus poor, citizen versus immigrant. And now, we've let it infect us. Grassroots versus establishment. We've adopted the language of our enemy. And then we've wondered why we keep losing. Until we recognize that the real enemy isn't the establishment, but the corrupt good old boys and their commerce at all cost mentality, until we realize that passion and that structure are allies, not enemies, we will continue losing winnable battles. We will keep nominating candidates who have heart but no resources. We will keep fighting while the left laughs all their way to the Capitol. I know this is hard to hear, but we've got to stop pretending that purity alone wins elections. It doesn't. Strategy, messaging, a good ground game, electable candidates do. Principles guide what we do with the power after they're elected. And if those elected stray away, it's our job to hold them accountable. Every cycle, we say, this time will be different. This time we'll elect the long shot outsider. But without resources, without relationships, without structure, that's not strategy, that's wishful thinking. It's no different than when the Democrats say, socialism will work this time if we just do it right. It's fantasy. And fantasies don't build movements. Discipline does, unity does, and truth does. Thank you.
Wow. Am I supposed to follow that? Well, at least it's with some fun things, right? Like silent auction, maybe a a jar full of candy. But that is our program overall tonight. I hope you all learned something tonight. I hope you all can take something home. I hope you can all appreciate the candidates who took valuable time out of their day to make it here to our remote location called Alcona County. We are the first of 83, and our slogan, is local action has national impact. And I think that can be very appreciated here today after all the talks that we heard today. Everyone is starting to kind of realize that we all need to band together or else we'll all fall. It even says it in the Bible, folks. So let's start with the candy. Bring that up here. We're doing 5, right?
Yep, have you pull 5.
All right, I won't look, guys. I won't look. Get your numbers ready. All right, here's 1. Oh, what's back? There it is. There's 2. 4, you guys ready? Here's 3. All right, here's 4. I think there's a folded one in here or something. You guys trying to trick me? Here's 5. All right. So, I'm going to read off the last 3 numbers. And if your number is called, please come up. So the first ticket, the last 3 numbers is 090. Oh, all right, we have a winner. Well, maybe. The next number is 097. Ooh, all right, come up.
Okay.
Both of you, come up. The next one is 079. 079. Oh, come on up. All right, the next one is 089.
2.
Oh, you got 2? Oh, he gets 2 guesses. Oh my goodness, what a cheater. I'm kidding. All right, and the last number is 092.
Let's see how you are.
Are you serious?
It's because Lynn spent his money.
Oh, Lynn, yeah, his wife spent all his money. That's why he's so broke.
3 out of 5 guesses.
All right.
Yeah, 3 out of 5 guesses.
Yeah, he's got 3 out of 5 guesses.
He goes first.
All right, you get to go first.
So I'm guessing the number?
Yep, you got to guess the number. You get 3 tries.
I get 3 tries.
Yep. Can someone write these down, please?
Yeah, I
3 million.
So I'll go, the wife wrote down the number. She said 557.
557 is 1.
I will say 612.
Okay. One more guess.
I will say 490.
490? 490.
All right, so next.
602.
602.
602. All right, I'm going to write that down. All right, and final? 550. All right. 490.
It's the winner. 490 is the winner. The total is 493.
The total of 493 pieces of candy in this jar. Congratulations, Mr. King.
It's all yours, Todd.
Take your candy.
Go give it to Lynn.
I'll take the Tootsie Rolls.
Jeff wants the Tootsie Rolls.
All right, so now we're going to announce the silent auction winners. So what's going to happen is I'm going to announce the number, and then you'll go over to where you register to pay, and they will bring your product to you. So ladies, can I have the silent auction sheets? Thank you. All right. So let's see here. For item number 1, which was the Charlie Kirk Freedom Tea, the winner is Christine Detroit. So please make your way to the registration area. For number 2, which was the 3x5 Trump flag, we have Nani winning. There she is. She's heading on up. And then for item number 3, which was the red, white, and blue wind chimes, we have Kevin Pievsky. Thank you so much. Head on up. For item number 4 is the Patriotic Retro Basket, which had all kinds of old pins from like Reagan and everything else. It's really cool, actually. It's Chris Holt. How pretty.
You can always charge his credit card.
Yeah, I'll have to charge his credit card. All right, well, we'll keep that one there. Something's got mixed up. All right, number 5 was the Patriotic Wine Basket, and the winner is Jeff Miram. Number 6, which was the Trunks of Love. I love that title, the elephant. It was Sylvia Jones. Number 7, which was 500 rounds of 9mm ammo. That was the one that Jackie left, so we'll have to put that aside. Maybe we can charge his credit card too.
Yeah, Jack Bergman. So
Yeah, he's too far. I know. The Trump fight photo. The winner is Cliff Ross. Thank you. Yep. Pull. There you go. All right. Number 9 And that one is Judy French. Number 10 is nature photo number 4, and that is Christine DeTroyer. Nature photo number 4 is Christine.
That's an eye.
Oh. So, Jeff Strasser, number 9 goes to Judy French. She's right there. Yep. And then number 10 goes to Christine. Yes. Those two, yeah. Thank you. All right, number 11 is another nature photo, and that one goes to Lisa Turek. So she gets number 11.
Yes, there was a lot of pictures. I think that's all that we had left.
All right. For auction item number 13, which is nature photo number 1, we have Jeffrey Muro. So he gets number 13. Jeff Muro. Number 14 is the fall gift basket, and that's Charles. Kerwin. Oh, that is an R. Thank you. So he is number 14. He is the
Well, they're expensive, so.
And then the final. This one we had all kinds of. This one was the real competitive one. Are you guys ready? The Santa wall quilt, handmade by our very own Lisa Turk. And the winner of the Santa wall quilt is Sharon Cross. Congratulations.
Well, at least you didn't get charged for it, and that's good.
Thank you all again so much for coming. May God bless your travels home and have a wonderful night. Thank you.